Good morning. Good morning. It has been a long time. I guess some people and some candidates are afraid to come or it's just too busy to get into Miami. It is hard to get into Miami, particularly rush hour. So I have found that there's less traffic now and there's parking. I guess a lot of people have left for the summer, so it's really good. I want to thank once again the Lincoln Road Eatery for hosting us. We know that they don't charge us, but we do buy stuff and the candidates buy stuff. Thank you very much for all of you who have. So that's how they make their money. From the mayor's office, Blake, that I always forget, and
Penelope.
Penelope.
Beverly's granddaughter, interning.
Intern, and she's the granddaughter of Beverly Heller, so we're happy to have her here. We have today a person that is running for judge, circuit judge, Mabel Ruiz, which I wish many more would come, because usually the judges' races, at least I hardly ever know who to vote for. And I said, can I start calling my lawyer friends and ask them, about them? And sometimes I do a little research, but I don't like research, so I don't.
You were holding your research.
Yeah, I do very well research. So, Mabel, please come. Thank you for coming, and thank you for wanting to come here. Most of our viewers are in the
Facebook.
And so they'll watch you, or they'll at least know who they can vote for that actually took their time to come here and try to get votes and try to learn about us. So please tell us a little bit about yourself and whatever else. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Mayor Bauer, for hosting this. I think it's a very important forum so that people do get to know judges, incumbents like myself, and other candidates. Yes, there was traffic getting here. There was a lot of traffic, but once you get to Miami Beach, it's just gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. So a little bit about myself. My name is Mabel Ruiz. I came to the United States when I was 5 years old. I come from very humble beginnings in Cuba. And my father was a mechanic his whole life. My mom was a secretary, worked for Hialeah Hospital for almost 45 years. But with hard work and education, a strong belief in education, I became the first in my family to graduate from college, like many families in our country. I became the first to graduate from get a higher degree in law, first lawyer in my family. Now there are 4 of us. So I'm very proud of that accomplishment. I ran for judge after 19 years as an attorney. I worked for the public defender's office. So it took me 19 years to feel like I had earned my right to sit on the bench and to rule on my colleagues' motions and to conduct their trials. I had 50 jury trials before I became a judge. And since becoming a judge, I'm a very trial-active judge. I've had over probably 150 or so total jury trials. I've done 2 tobacco trials, where if you recall, it is when someone who believes that they're afflicted by an illness due to the tobacco, they sue the tobacco companies, and I've had 2 of those cases. They're very complex. The first trial was sometime 2018, 2019, 200 jurors, so I'm managing 200 jurors, half a dozen to a dozen attorneys who travel from state to state doing these trials. And so the first trial was not appealed at all, and I just did another tobacco trial, this one with 250 jurors, and the appeal was dropped in, I don't know, about 60 days later. So that one had 250 jurors, as I said. So I'm very proud of my record. I follow the law. My job as a judge is to interpret what the legislature passes and then to be as faithful as I can to their intent. So that's what I do. That way the law applies evenly to everyone. Big or small, rich or poor, no matter who it is, me or anyone else. So it's a cornerstone of our country so that we know where we stand in the law. I became a lawyer after reading a book written by a Cuban political prisoner. His name is Armando Valladares. And he was in prison for 20 years as a college student for disseminating brochures like the one that I just handed to you today. His book is called Against All Odds. It is inspiring. And there's an article, a DVR article regarding that when I first won and became a judge in 2000. Well, I was elected in 2014 and started in 2015. And I bring that up because that history informs me. So I was born in a country where someone like him, who faced a tribunal, a judge with a defense attorney and a prosecutor, everyone knew his destiny was predetermined. His sentence was practically predetermined. And so that is why it is so important to me to follow the law, because I never want a situation like we have in other countries where it depends what, if you're part of the Communist Party there, you're going to have favoritism. So I've handled thousands and thousands and thousands of cases. I've handled many criminal cases, many civil cases as a judge, and that's what I try to do faithfully.
Bluetooth mode. Bluetooth connected.
Sure, I have a daughter who also became a lawyer. I swore her in on April 13th. My pride and joy. And of course, having been a defense attorney my whole career, she grew up to become a prosecutor.
The rebellion.
And so she is now a prosecutor in Miami-Dade County. But what an honor for her to have that opportunity. And as I mentioned, there are a total of, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, four, at least 4 lawyers in my family now. We are people that, from very, very humble beginnings, but with a lot of hard work, like many of you and your families and your ancestors, with a lot of hard work and a belief in education. I've been a judge now for 11 years, so I am an incumbent. The election is on August 18th, not in November for me. So there are a few, maybe, I don't know, half a dozen races for judges. So do inform yourselves. In my race, experience, I believe, is a big focus and factor for me. It's what I bring to the bench. And so if anyone has any questions, I'll be happy to address them.
Wait. Let Maddie get ready. Let me get her ready. Wait a minute, I missed it.
Yes, ma'am.
I had 2 sort of congruent questions. I never heard the term trial actress judge. It makes it sound like your decision how active you want to be, number one. And number two, you said you don't have to
So the comments that judges can make are very limited. We abide by very strict rules. For example, judicial races are nonpartisan. So the first question that you asked is, why did I say that I am a trial active judge? To some degree, the judge is kind of the captain of the ship. So there will be parties that ask for continuance of cases, and it can get to the point where a case becomes 10 years old, which I have had. So I've come into divisions with, for many varying reasons, cases are 9, 10 years old, and the Florida Supreme Court has taken a strong stand on cases that are older, and which I support 100%. So when I say I'm trial active, I mean that I gather the attorneys, we discuss what needs to be done, we work toward that, we set a trial date, and we go forward. And so the court does have discretion to some degree to grant more time to the attorneys or to deny more time. And so you've heard the term justice delayed is justice denied. And I believe that people and companies, litigants, have the right to get their situation determined. We do have many, many cases. For example, when I started in my division, in my civil division, I had almost 2,600 cases. You can imagine that there's no way to go to trial on 2,600 cases and resolve them all. So you work toward it, and what happens is magical. You set a case for trial, and many times, for the first time in many years, the parties will pick up the phone and they'll talk and they'll say, listen, you know, why don't you give a little, I give a little, and we come to an agreement, and that happens a lot. But it is the judge who kind of dictates the pace at which certain cases get to trial. And so that's what I mean by a trial active judge. When I say, folks, get ready, you're going to trial, I mean it. And so because I mean it, the parties make an effort to get the case ready, to do whatever they need to do, whatever's left. And additionally, let me say that it isn't because I believe that lawyers are, kicking their feet up and not doing anything. Being a lawyer is extremely hard work. And I have tremendous respect for lawyers, tremendous respect. Lawyers work weekends, they forego time with their families so that they can prepare a case and be ready for Judge Ruiz at 9 a.m. So I also balance that and make sure that if lawyers need time, if a lawyer tells me, Judge, my kid has a track meet on so-and-so day, that to me is very, very important. It's very important to allow people with such a stressful job to spend time with families. You made a comment about predetermined. I cannot comment on your comments.
Wait. Nope. You should know better by now.
Short question.
Yeah, okay, so you can't comment on that, but how do judges get picked for certain trials?
Yeah, just put it on her mouth.
Judges get picked for certain trials, but Amy can
Hello,
always get
go ahead.
the trial.
So again, I cannot comment
Well, how do
on.
judges get picked?
Okay, so I cannot comment on that. But the way that cases, let me just say, there are federal court judges, and those judges are appointed by the president. Whatever president is in office at the time will select, and then they'll go through a vetting process, etc. So that is not our court. I am in state court in Miami, and let me also say, everyone in Miami-Dade County can vote. So long as you're a valid voter, I mean. But the point I'm trying to make is that when judges run for election, it is county-wide. It's all 2.8, 2.9 million people that we work for. So the way that cases get assigned in state court is there is something called blind filing. So someone will go to any court in Miami and will file their case, and then
A lawyer file.
a lawyer, but also a pro se person, a litigant can represent themselves. They can, a non-lawyer can represent themselves. They cannot represent a corporation. So whomever it is files their case in court, and then the clerk's office will blind file that case to any judge. So it's blind. We receive it. I'll receive a case, and I have no idea how, because it's just, I don't believe it's even a human that does it. I think it's the computer that just selects and distributes the cases accordingly. It is absolutely not done in a predetermined fashion or in a selected fashion.
So you were saying that by coincidence, the person that she's talking about, which I don't know at all, yes, the case is of what? Is it the lawyer that files it?
I have no idea, but Amy Cannon, a Trump appointee, who's considered not necessarily qualified, always gets Trump cases, and he always gets off.
Is it in this kind of court? No, it's
Oh.
federal court.
Okay.
And so is the federal court the same?
I do not know because I do not work in the federal system, but I'm willing to say that they also have a blind filing system. Yes.
There's magic in politics. Magic in politics.
We have a question over here.
Somehow or other, coincidentally.
Okay.
Patty,
Wait.
Those coincidences too, but I'll move on. Okay. Who is your opponent, and how do you distinguish yourself from your opponent?
Yes, well, thank you for that question. I don't mention my opponent. I prefer to focus on me. So regarding me, ask me whatever you would like to ask me, and I'll be happy to answer it so long as the judicial canons allow me. As I mentioned,
It's okay. It's like this.
as I mentioned, is it?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's on.
I have vast experience, and you would have to ask them about their qualifications and whatever other questions you may have.
I respect your resolution, but is it a man or a woman? I mean,
No, I think-
very open.
We're going to whittle that response down. The person, my opponent, is a young female.
Okay.
Oh, so you have only one opponent?
One opponent,
Okay.
yes.
Okay.
There are,
Anybody who has another question?
Harry, who is?
I was going to say, there are some judicial races with 3 persons, and I believe that unless one of them wins with more than 50% of the vote, then they'll have to go to November. Don't quote me on that.
Thank you.
yeah, first of all, I want to say and thank you for being so open about how things are handled judicially. Most judicial candidates just want to smile and say, folks, from me, you're to be commended on that ground. The other thing I have to ask you on your cases with tobacco, being someone who worked for the health department for a number of years and had to go out on these types of complaints for the Florida Clean Indoor Air Act, I'm just wondering how long were these tobacco cases in process that you handled? Just to give us an idea of the length.
I believe the first one I handled was at least 10 years old, and it's not uncommon because there was a big case that was decided many years ago, and so based on that case, folks started to file. The most recent trial that I had, I think, was maybe a 2018, 2019 case, and it's since closed. And as to your comment about being open about the system, as a judge, I do wish to inform you all of the process, the procedure. It isn't saying anything negative or positive about anything. It's just explaining how it works. The blind file system, for example, how the judiciary works with the clerk's office, and how cases are assigned. So these are things that are...
How long did it last, the trial?
So that's the trials, both of them lasted 3 weeks. It's pretty exhausting on the attorneys, the litigants, and on myself, and on the jurors. So these trials are very interesting. Both sides work very, very hard. There are many, many, many pretrial motions. The attorneys are very qualified, extremely professional on both sides, and it's really an honor for me to have presided over those trials. It makes our profession, they place our profession in a very good light. They're very professional and very knowledgeable.
Yeah, I just want to make one comment. When the initial case was settled, that sort of controlled that through Lawton Childs, where he won $1 billion, they went through every one of my cases that I had investigated, just for your information.
Oh, that's all. Well, this litigation has been going on for many, 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 many years. And so the law has evolved, and the attorneys are very up on the latest, and they're very good about informing the judge what's come up, what's happened, what issues have been resolved, what issues are outstanding. But when I say that the attorneys on both sides are extremely professional, I mean to say that they resolve many of the issues amongst themselves before the issue comes to the court, I've commended them on that, because they have a lot on the line for their clients. So it's very
I have
good.
a question. How many judges in circuit court are there? How many judges?
So there are a total, I believe, currently of 123 judges, but that is a combination of county court and circuit court. 123.
And I don't know if you can comment of this. Do you believe that's enough? Because I really am amazed that people wait so long for a trial. And I think it is unjust. I'm glad that they have asked that those trials. Is the process, why does it take that long? Why is it stalled 10 years, even 3 years?
Sure.
You know, why?
So I have a list of cases that I set for trial, and I meet with those lawyers, and it could be 60 cases. And I ask each side, are you ready? Are you ready? And then the ones that I decide need to go to trial, even though maybe one side says, I'm not quite ready, Judge. I might say something like, well, you have 2 weeks. Do what you can to prepare yourself. I'm going to put you on standby. So the reason for the delay can be anything that happens in life. It could be that one of the attorneys or the litigants is ill and has been sick. Or someone suddenly had an emergency.
Could it be that they're putting off, that maybe
Of course.
maybe the lawyers don't really want to bring it up, or
It could.
and that is very unfair, because the plaintiff or whoever wants to get over that particular problem, and when they extend it so long, there's money that you have to pay the lawyers. The only people that get money are the lawyers, so it's for the advantage of the lawyers to take this long. And there should be something that they shouldn't have to pay the lawyer after a certain time. You'll see how fast they get the trials going. Because it's all about money. Everything is all about money. I mean, become
That's,
very.
that's why I am the judge and you do not
It's
represent.
terrible. I know someone
Yeah.
that has been 4 or 5 years already,
Yes.
and either the judge dies or the judge changes places, or, you know, it's
Yeah.
horrible.
It's very difficult, but I assure you that every judge that I work with is anxious to clear up their docket, to get those cases. But how many weeks are there in a year?
No, but I
So-
think that,
so-
that the issue that you mentioned before, particularly the court where they can settle, is one that should be pushed early on.
And judges do. And
try to
lawyers
get
do.
rid of those that can be. Then even after they settle, you can appeal and you can do this and that, and that person needs to wait and pay more lawyers. And so it is, for many times, it is, they're not having a resolution, not having, yeah, it is very taxing, it's terrible, it's terrible.
Well,
I've seen people.
I am 1,000% sure that every judge on the bench wants to get those cases to trial. There's 54 weeks
I
in
mean,
a
if the,
year.
if the lawyer is not ready after 5 years, no, he shouldn't be a lawyer. Really? I mean, who wants a lawyer that takes 5 years to get ready?
Well, sometimes, as I was going to say, out of the cases that I place on standby, I have a 2-week trial period, so I can only do a certain number of those. And if I have, now I'm down to about, say, 1,500 cases.
Already ready for trial?
No. I preside over about 1,500 cases.
How often, let's say that you said, okay, you gotta get ready for trial. How long would it take after that? Do you set?
Don't move the microphone hand, move the other hand.
Do you set?
So the Supreme Court has designated certain tracks for types of cases. A streamlined track should take about 12 months from beginning to end. A general track case takes about 18 months.
What is the difference?
The difference is that the parties believe they can get their case ready in a year's time, in 12 months. A general path is
Bluetooth mode.
18 months. It's 18
Bluetooth
months.
connected.
And then a complex, I believe it's about 24 months. So a complex case might have 5 plaintiffs suing 10, 15, 20 defendants. Very, very complicated. And listen, the lawyers do their best, but they can only be in one place at one time. They can only be doing a deposition on one case. And if a deposition is going to take 4, 5, 7 hours to take, you know, how
Plenty
many?
of lawyers.
So, no, I tell you, I never assume that someone is trying to be strategic or trying to get away with it. But
They need more lawyers. We need more courts and more of everything to try to help the people that need help on either side.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter which side it is.
listen, now
Because both sides are tied up.
I have a bunch of cases that are ready for me to try them, but I can only try one case at a time. So if a case takes an average of 5 days to try, I can try 2 a month. It isn't something that is so simple.
No.
I liked hearing what you said about the attorneys that you see playing fairly, honoring the law, respecting each other, respecting the process. We know that that doesn't always happen. And how would you handle it if an attorney was not acting in good faith? If you
That's a great
recognize that
question.
in contempt, or what are your remedies?
How do I handle an attorney who's being unprofessional? We have professionalism rules that apply to all of us, starting with me. Of course, people have bad days, they have personal things going on, But there's never an excuse for, say, accusing another lawyer of being unethical without any basis whatsoever. I do not let that pass. I either confront the lawyer at that moment, and most of them will say, Judge, I'm sorry, I misspoke, I apologize. And we'll get back to a level of professionalism between the parties. But when that person does not, and there's an accusation, for example, at some point I had one person accusing a lawyer of unethical conduct, I will set them and have a contempt hearing. It is not acceptable to take our profession and diminish it, because then everyone else will say lawyers are this, lawyers are that, and I just don't believe that. So I'm happy to tell you that that is the rare circumstance. It's the rare circumstance.
Judge, I want to lighten this up a little bit. My name is Seth Bramson. I am America's single most published Florida history book author, and one of my books is titled From Brooklyn to Biscayne Bay and on to Tallahassee, the remarkable story of former Florida Supreme Court Chief Justice Gerald Kogan. I don't know if you knew Justice Kogan.
I believe I've met him a few times.
Well, he's passed away unhappily, but that is the only biography ever written of a Florida judge or Supreme Court justice. 6 of my books are Miami Beach and the northern suburbs, and I wrote the Curtis Bright Cities, Hialeah, Miami Springs, and Opa-locka. And the reason I mention this is because if there's ever anything I can do for you having to do with our history, please don't ever hesitate to be in touch.
Well, thank you so much for writing about those.
Just an
important
advertisement.
Miami topics. Thank you so much for writing about those important Miami topics. I think most people don't know very much history about Miami itself. I had to write a report once in school, and I couldn't believe that Coconut Grove was a series of mangroves that was filled in, and look at it now.
So, to address Patty's comments, I just have a comment. We are an extremely litigious society, and we have put in an infrastructure, it seems, to deal with 1,500 cases. Fine. And personally, I know of one person who has sued us, I'll say, without getting specific, 4 times for no reason, tactically. This is a tactic. Pro se, and he's being spurred on by an attorney who's not acting as an attorney in this particular case, but who is.
So don't tell me anything about the case. Yeah.
But this is not unusual. People just sue for the sake, and we get the sewer in chief teaching us how to do that. So I've been in countries where people can be kind to each other because they're not litigious. We can't do that here because we're afraid of being sued. So just changing the whole mindset.
Well, I can tell you that the legislature is aware of some folks that are abusing the system, and they recently passed a law called the Vexatious Litigant Law. And that law is directed at non-lawyers, and if they meet a certain criteria, they are prohibited from filing any cases pro se, and they're required to hire a Florida licensed attorney to file their case. So it's the Florida Vexatious Litigant Statute. If that assists in any way.
Hi, I'm trying to figure out what a citizen should consider in deciding who to vote for. I mean, I assume that personal agendas do not play a role in your job, right?
You are correct.
And also, isn't the law the law? So I'm wondering what criteria a person would use in saying, I prefer that person versus another person?
That is a very good question. So, judges cannot run on anything other than I will follow the law. That is the thrust of our job. That is the absolute purpose of our job. And I'm proud to say that I have a very good record doing that. There's a system called Westlaw that keeps track of reversals and things like that. I believe I have a 13% reversal rate, which is very slim. I've had over 400 cases appealed in the time that I've been a judge. Of course, we get it wrong, and thank God there is an appellate court that will review our decisions. So your question is, what criteria do I look at? Well, you look at the person's, who they are. You meet them, and you figure out, does this person have the character that I, at least from what I can see, that merits being a judge? Does this person have the experience? That's very, very important. Does this person have the experience to be the leader in the courtroom in those huge cases, for example? Is this person fair? So I think that criteria, is the person fair? Does the person's character come across to you as a person who means what they say, who will follow the law? Does the candidate follow the law? These are all things that are important. There are cases and situations where the judge has the ability to use his or her own discretion. So in that situation, then the person's experience, history comes into play, because the judge is going to rule and be fair based on the facts in the case. So I try to stay away from, I always resort to the case law and to the statute. So that is the guiding principle. Will the judge follow the law? Does the judge understand the law? What's the appellate record of the judge? All of those things.
I think that that is good, but sometimes think all the time. It's your background and your way you grew up and your families that helped you grow up makes the person that judge is. And so, you know, I know that you can't say what party you're in.
No.
But, you know, it tells us, you can't say, it's a nonpartisan issue, and you can't bring it up.
No,
Right.
absolutely
And
not.
so, you know, when there is problems like I think exist now in government, people are looking for people really fair. And I really think that. I don't think that they want one side or the other, but it seems like now there's a one-sided appointing everybody to places where they make decisions that not all of us agree with. And so I think it's a harder issue. I think this question comes from how do we really judge, because you don't give us anything. I mean, you have, most of the people never speak this much. They'll tell you they don't, maybe the questions that come up, I don't know. But we've had judges here. You have been very candid about the answers, you know, we like it or not. And you haven't told us anything, but you have given us, particularly me, a glimpse into what happened. Because I don't focus on that, because I feel like there's nothing to do. That's why I called lawyers, that I like their sides and find out which one they think is a fair one. And that's how I judge, you know, by the people that I know that may think the way I think, that vote in this instance blindly. And the reason that I think we still should have, as many people say, oh, appoint. Well, I don't agree with that, because then it comes from the top, and whoever's at the top will appoint the people that they want. So I'd rather take my chances on voting who I think is the one that having appointed all the time. So, any other questions? If not, we're going to close it up.
Okay,
And
go
we
over
give
there.
it to,
Go over there.
you want to close up?
Well, I hope that you have gotten a glimpse of who I am as a person and as a judge. I've been serving for 11 years, and it is always a goal to follow the law and to be fair and to hear everyone out. So August, no, not yet. So August 18th is the election for the judges. There'll be several, and
We thank you very much.
thank you for the invitation.
You are the first judge to ask to come in front of a group of people, and so I really appreciate that very, very much.
Thank you so much for welcoming me.
Thank you. Thank you for being here. Here. No, it's okay. Just stay nearby.
Okay, next Tuesday morning is going to be on June 30th. We are going to have Ashley Litwin Diego, which is running for state representative for our district, District 106. And actually, we are planning on, with another lawyer, on doing a judge, little forum. So he will be in contact with you, and maybe we'll see you there.
Marvel.
I call her Mabel.
I call her Marvel, like the superhero.
Okay, close up. That's it?
That's it.
Of
Here.
course.
And we close up.
Where's the-